I had a bunch of these shells, and I just love these tiny mermaids, and I was wondering if I could figure out a way that I could maybe paint the shell and have it be a background for this mermaid. So I decided I would paint the bottom of it blue and maybe try to make it look kind of like she's in a shell pool of water, and maybe put some little tiny shells that I have in the bottom. Well, I got this idea actually from a fairy house piece that I made that had a bathtub, and I made the bathtub in a similar way, not in a shell, but in a very similar way to this, and everybody touched the water because it looked so real. So here I'm trying to do a little ombre, and as usual my finger did the best job blending, so it's a little darker at the bottom, and I have to let that totally dry. And then I'm going to use my gold pen to just pretty up the edge of the shell, just to make it a little bit more finished looking and just something a little metallic. I love metallics, so I just thought this would be a nice kind of a touch on there. So I'm just using the marker. All of this has to dry before going to the next step. And so here it is. It's all dry. And so this is acetate that I drew the shell on, and I'm gonna cut the shape out a little bit smaller. So here's the shape for that shell, and I'm going to cut that out a little bit smaller because I want it to line up as best as it can with the water that I painted, which is a little bit inside of the shell. So I'm just using regular scissors to cut that out. And there, it's going to fit right in there. Now, it has a coating on it that needs to be removed, which is what I'm doing right here. Well, I'm actually cutting the hole for the mermaid, and then I have to remove that coating that's on there. There's a plastic film that's on the acetate, and that's why it's not shiny right now. So I'm using my super pointy scissors, and I just drew a circle, an oval, where I want the mermaid's tail to kind of fit in there. Now I do have another video showing how I make that tiny mermaid, which is why I didn't show it here. So she's going to fit right in there like that. And that fits in there pretty well, lines up pretty well with the water. I was trying to figure out if there was some background I could paint on there. So I'm taking the film off. I might try a couple of versions, but I do like the way this came out. So these are some little shells that I have, and I just thought it would be kind of cute to put them into the bottom. I also thought it might look kind of cute to put sand in the bottom. The only thing is, when I glue in that acetate, it's not possible for me to really totally seal off the edge, so it would leak out, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm using this Arlene's tacky glue. Now this is going to take a while to dry, but it dries clear, but I'm putting the tacky glue around the edge of the water, and then I'm going to set the acetate in there, put my little shells in, and then I'm going to set the acetate on top and press it down so that it sticks to the glue. And then I have to let that totally dry before going on to the next step. I'm also going to glue the mermaid in the same way. I'll just use the Arlene's glue. it dries totally clear. So I'm just going to put that around the edge, put her in, and then just leave it 24 hours or so to completely dry. And I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. So here are two versions. It looks adorable just sitting on a table. But I also made another one that has a little hanging, it's like a swing, little thing to hang it on in case if someone wanted to use it as an ornament and hang it on a Christmas tree. So I thought both of them were really super cute. It would be hard for me to figure out which version I'm going to make more of. So here she is. I love this tiny little mermaid, and I'm having so much fun trying to figure out how to use the ones I have. Thanks for watching. See you next time.